Hi, welcome to a new video dedicated to the last SPCMaker FPV brushless racer. This is a K1. This new one integrates directly the new RunCat Split Mini 2 board. It means that for only 12 grams you have an FPV camera and also a DVR module able to record in HD resolution in 1080p up to 60 frames per second. Versus the first edition of the RunCat Split Mini, it saves close to 10 grams thanks to this unique board design compared to the two-layer ones for the former model. In direct application we can have now ultra-light compact FPV racer, and this one is a 95mm 2-inch props FPV racer. For the other electronic ingredients we have an F4 board with of course a built-in Betaflight OSD chip to overlay your favorite information. We have a 20 ampere built-in 4-in-1 ESC, D-Shock 600 compatible, is still barely LES compatible, not yet barely 30, but I think in the next generation it will come. For the video transmitter we have a module broadcasting the FPV signal over 40 channel, okay, and between 25 or 100 milliwatts. No smart audio or any possibility to control the video transmitter settings through the OSD. What's a pity for this module. And what we have also, we have some 1105 motors, 6000 kV. It means that all these ESC and motors are 4S compatible. So let's discover this new compact box from SPCMaker. Here is all the content of the box. So just a few elements inside. Here is a machine where I already pre-installed the 2-inch props, highly profiled, with a high pitch 2-inch model, and as you can see, no possibility to install some larger model. Thanks to the 10x screws in M2 format provided in the bundle, 2 remaining one as spare, 2 stickers, okay, and one from SPCMaker, and 4 prop guards, and voila. And I already also pre-installed the battery strap. So standalone without the battery, and I will remove the lens cap. This machine weighs 86.2 grams, so pretty light. Let's give some information about the main 3 key carbon. The lower arms are about 2.40 millimeters, so 2.5 in a first approximation. Not 3 millimeters as we could expect, but it's already not bad. Are they a little bit flexible? Just yes, little bit, but not drama. It won't be a big catastrophe, I guess. The upper structure is a little more thinner, of course, and is about, let's measure here, about 1 millimeters of 40. And as you can see, the two plates, the 2 elements are linked through some aluminum stand-up, okay. And well, in the first glance, if they are bending or so on, I guess the structure will be damaged, especially in case of frontal crash. Look, the lens, as you can see, maybe there is a short direct contact in case of frontal crash in this case. So let's have a look to the new RunCat Split Mini. You have the camera. This one is broadcasting the signal over 40 channels, so sent to the video transmitter. We have ultra good light sensitivities below 0.01 lux, and as you may already know, this RunCat module offers 2 types of field of view. One smaller, about 130 degrees, which is already not bad for the FPV part, and one more wider for the 1080p resolution, so you can enjoy even more wider when you will play back your favorite flight station. Good news, you can adjust the lens orientation a little bit, so over 0 degrees up to, as you can see, this is the maximum angle, so we have something about 35 degrees maximum, and then you are limited by the top carbon element blocking the expansion about the up tilt angle. So no real drama for very aggressive flight. You should find your favorite orientation, whatever. On behind the camera, installed more vertically, we have the FieSky XM Plus module directly with the diversity antenna, and you can throw them here, installed through these 2 rear host. About the FieldSky XM Plus, first of all, the bind button is not super easy to access. You have to push, for example, with your Allen key, the receiver front on the front left position in order to access to the bind button here. Okay, so it's not really obvious, a little bit tricky. Good news, at least when you power the machine through the USB, the receiver is also powered, so you can, for example, play with a power bank to make your life more easy during the binding. What I mean is to keep press this bind button while powering the flight controller through the USB port or USB power bank. At least it should be a little bit more easy. So not a super easy access to the FieldSky bind button. Another bad news, this one is not flash with the firmware compatible exporting the RSSI through the last auxiliary channel. What's a pity, why they didn't spend only 2 minutes to flash this one. And the more dramatic, the receiver is installed and soldered directly on the flight controller board through the UART port nearby the micro USB port. It means that if you want to flash it, except maybe by some specialized props system, okay, you will need to desolder these 3 super tiny wires. You have a pitch about 1 mm to access to these 3 wires for the S-bus connection. So not an easy trick to flash your favorite RSSI FieldSky receiver compatible one. So it's really a shame that they didn't spend 2 minutes to flash it. Let's continue to describe the machine. And as you can see, the upper part is not really large, so it means that in case of lateral or a crash of upside down, you may damage the board. And on the top of it here, you can find the video transmitter. So one unique button. Okay, this is exactly the same model that the SPCMaker S125 is. Not a bad one. You can select the output from 25 mW or 100 mW. But there is no smart audio ERC tramp compatibility. It means that everything must be done through this unique button, and as you already know, the video band frequency selection and the output power is a little bit different. You will need first to enter on 1 to the 3 type of choices. By default, the first one, when you start to press 3 seconds, will be for the V-frame. So you will see the red light flashing fast. Okay, when you keep it, press on it during 3 seconds, the light will be off. Then you will have a slow fast flashing for the red light. Then you will need to short press, okay, 8 times to cycle between the 8 V-frame. If you press this button more than 5 seconds, you will exit from the any menu at any moment. But if you only press 3 seconds, the 2 lights will one more time go off, okay, and then you will see the lights, the red light flashing fast twice this time. Then if you short press on this button, you will be able to select among the 6 video transmitter channels this time, okay, and you will see one blink of the green light per versus the channel band number. Finally, if one more time you press 3 seconds this button, the 2 lights will go off one more time. The red light will blink fast, okay, 3 times this time, and then the green light, if you short press on it, will blink only once or 2, once for the 25 milliwatts and twice for the 100 milliwatts. If you want to exit at any moment, long press this button 5 seconds. Okay, so it's a little bit tricky for the selection, but it can be done. So not an easy binding. The video transmitter setting is not obvious, and what's a pity that this module is not ERC tramp or smart audio compatible. We can find on the right side the micro USB nearby the S-bus connection, and if we flip and look to the left side, what we can find here, this is the video transmitter soldering, okay, installation directly from the central run cam split mini 2 module. So from this one, you have on the right side where you have to insert the micro SD card. Out of the box, no micro SD card. Of course, you will need a class 10 minimum with a good writing speed. I advise a U3 one, and to install it or to eject it, you will need to press this metal pad here, then press with your nails on it to release the micro SD card. Okay, you need to insert it where the metal pads of the micro SD card is front to you. Okay, be sure, because it's reverse on the board. Then to reinsert it, press the metal pad, then click until you hear a click like this, and then restore the metal bar in order to block the micro SD card from any accidental ejection during a crash. Okay, so it's not super easy, but unfortunately with the Runcam Split Mini, no more free USB port to, for example, retrieve your files, the recorded files. So it means each time you will need to eject this board and reinsert it. Okay, there is a special Runcam Split Mini S version now with also a micro USB port, so maybe in a future upgrade can be this module will be preferred in order to have a more easy file access. Let's continue. So the central in the Runcam Split Mini, the second from the top is the flight controller, the video transmitter on top, and the most bottom one is the ESC board, 20 ampere. Okay, 4-in-1 like this. So let's check now the motor. 1105, 6000 kV, so not too fast to be 4S compatible. That's really a great news. We have an XT32 connector. On the rear we have a buzzer. Okay, that's great, but you may know the Runcam Split Mini is a known module to be really, I will say, sensitive to some noise, and you don't see any caps installed to filter out any potential motor interferences coming from the motor, for example. So it means that in first glance it may be sensitive to the motor noise, especially at height throttle. We will check in mid-flight if it's true or not. So I'm just raising this caution from the first glance. What's a pity, the two antenna, the 2.4 GHz antenna diversity are very close from the 5 GHz linear antenna. So we are too close, and we are in what we call in electromagnetic field in the Fresnel lens, okay, of potential any interferences from any harmonics of the 2.4 towards the 5 GHz and the any under harmonics from the 5 GHz toward 2.4. So we can have a mutual interaction because the two antennas are a little bit too close each other. You can install very easily a LiPo. Here, this is a 500 model, and I think this model is a little bit too heavy. Okay, I advise more, and it's advised to install more a 300 mAh model. So I will whatever give you the information about the weight with the 500 model. 500 mAh model, so a 4S, of course. So this one can be installed very easily through the battery trap, and this one weights, the total weight will be a little bit more heavier than the 300 mAh model. Of course, we are reaching 146, so below the 150 grams limit. But I'm pretty sure that with the 300 mAh model, we can be close to 130 grams, so which is definitely not bad. The expected flight time is, as usual, about 3 minutes. Okay, and the Runcam Split Mini. Let's, for example, power the machine, and to show you the what is the FPV signal. So I will have this FPV monitors. Okay, like this. Okay, I will turn on the FPV monitors. Okay, we should be able to see the rendition of the Runcam Split Mini. So we'll power the XT30 connector. Okay, and good news, the auto recording option is turned on by default. Okay, so you will see here from the Split Mini blue light blinking, meaning that it's directly engaging the recording as soon as you power the machine. To stop the recording, we have here two small buttons. The front one is to trigger the video recording, so one more time to press and it's stopping recording, and the blue light will remain constant as it stopped. If you press one more time, you will resume recording and it will flash. By default, you are in 1080p 60 frames per second. Okay, so they are very tiny to access. And I would say the more rare button, there is another one, is to enter into the USD settings. So let's talk about the runcam split wiring. As you may know, the runcam split mini can be controlled through the flight controller via your OSD information. But for this, you will need some connection. And here on the split mini board here, exactly, I hope you will be able to see, we have two pads for the RX and TX, and this one are not connected, even not wired, to the flight controller. It means that with just two basic wires from here to the bottom side of the flight controller, we have two UART, two free UART here, the 6 and the 3. We could control the, for example, your video recording through a special dedicated switch for your radio, for example, or another one to enter into your OSD settings to change any runcam split mini option. It would have been great, but it just required two wires from the TX and RX to the RX TX respectively for the any of the UART 6 or 3 available just below, okay, the flight controller board located here. So for this job, you will need probably to remove first of all the top cover and probably remove the two board, the flight controller board and the video transmitter. Be aware they are attached together and they are connected through a 6-position connector here. So I strongly advise to move both of them simultaneously by raising more first the flight controller to raise from the tower. Okay, don't try to detach first the video transmitter and then the flight controller. I'm not sure they could be reclipped very easily like this. So it's really a drawback that is not done directly out of the box. In fact, it's a general problem for this machine. This machine comes with Betaflight 3.2.4, so it's quite old version of Betaflight. Even if the video transmitter is not supporting smart audio or C-Trump, this Betaflight version won't, whatever, in any case, speak these two protocols. So it's strongly advised out of the box to install a more recent Betaflight version 3.5.2, for example, okay, to offer, to enjoy more smoother controls and more optimized PIDs and so on. Okay, so a very old Betaflight version. Okay, install what's a pity. And more if you want to install these two wires from the runcam split mini to the flight controller, you will need a modern Betaflight version to enjoy the runcam split mini control through Betaflight via your favorite radio transmitter. So it means, to resume, that there is a lot of work to do out of the box. A new Betaflight installation, adjust some settings, eventually to wire the runcam split mini to the flight controller, and I will say also to flash the RSSI firmware compatible to the FierSky. So a lot of electronic job out of the box. It's really a shame from SPCMaker that did this job out of the box from factory. For them, it's only 10 minutes of to spend more on this on the building of this machine, and for us it's a lot of time to tune and to enjoy a more perfect machine. So my first feeling about the structure is solid, durable, not super compact as any 3mm thickness structure. The lens could be a little bit damaged in any case from the frontal crash. Maybe the top, the aluminum stand-up can suffer as well. No spare props, no all wiring down, no Betaflight optimization, especially for the flight modes. There is nothing special. The OSD layout is a default one, so not a lot of optimization have been done, and it will be the next section of this video. First discover the default setting, then to optimize it a bit this machine. Let's go. Okay, so we will connect the machine and immediately try to dump the current version installed. It's strongly advised. Okay, and we have the version of 3.2.4 for the Omnibus F4 with a built-in OSD. So we will dump all the command and save all of them into an empty text file in order to restore all the default settings in case of serious damage or whatever mistake you did. So save that into a text file to be sure to restore everything in case of accident. So let's discover the setup. We will reboot, okay, and press connect, and then check the port. So we have the UART1 serial turned on for the PSK XM Plus, or your favorite serial receiver install. We have two free UART, the UART 3 and 6, as I mentioned in the first unboxing part. So for example, you can connect your Rank and Split Mini or on the 3 or the 6, okay, as you prefer. And in terms of configuration, we have a Quad X, and you can see we have D-Shot 600 turned on by default, and we can maybe select a D-Shot 100, but I would stay in D-Shot 600. We can see that the barometer is turned on and the kilos, so we can turn everything to 4 kilos, okay, and it will run very smoothly. Whatever, you can see that the CPU load is very below with a low value, 5%. It's okay. We have the receiver really well configured to any S-Bus receiver. It's okay for the S-Bus. We have the LED strip. We don't have any LED strip, so we can disable this option. We have the IR mode turned on by default, so we maybe adjust here in your favorite flight mode, okay, and we are ready to save, okay. And for example, let's have a look now to reconnect everything to the power of the battery. We have the default LiPo settings. For the failsafe, we have the default one, and the PIDs we have here exactly the default one. So for example, if you prefer a faster rate, usually you can increase a little bit these values, okay, but it's already not bad, about 1000 degrees per second, so it will be already super fast, okay. So we keep the default rates, and as you can see, we have some PIDs maybe a little bit optimized in terms of I and D, okay, but it seems to be more or less the default one. Nothing else, okay, so I will save that and check now the receiver. So I already pre-bind the system, okay, and I will see that it's beeping because there is one auxiliary channel associated with the buzzer. So by default, with my jumper V2, I am in with the aileron, elevator, throttle, rudder channel mapping. So if you have more terrains, please select something about the other channel mapping more in Spectrum, the last choice, okay. We'll have the throttle first. We have some RC and yaw deadband smoothing with a value of 2. The throttle is here. We have the auxiliary, okay, I can harm or not. Okay, so I have the first two auxiliary are 3 ways, and the last X3 is a 2-way for me, but it's up to you. So let's check the default mode, flight mode. So we have the arming is done on the upper position of the arm 1, and by default over a wide selection of your aux2 we are in angle mode, okay, so with a 6-axis stabilization. So if you prefer something more natural, you can add, for example, the something like this, or an aux2 like this, and add the acro plus the anti-gravity, okay, like this on aux2, and I will add manually as well the air mode, okay, on the last position like this. I will save. Okay, so I will be able to select the acro, as you can see, plus with anti-gravity air mode coupled, and as you can see, I've got the aux1. So for me, it will be it will be done on the aux1, and one is in the middle position, okay, yeah, like this, and will harm when the AUX1 will be in the upper position. Okay, so it's my personal choices. You can do what you prefer, whatever. So out of the box there is a small flight mode selection, very basic. At least the battery is controlled out of the box. In terms of OSD, we have this layout. So for example, we can remove the horizon sidebar, completely useless in my point of view. We have the artificial horizon as well, but we can keep the main battery voltage. Okay, so is about here, so we can push everything in the four corner. For example, we can select only the timer 2. Okay, and we can install it, for example, on the top right corner. And we have the flight mode here. Why not in central position or here on the bottom right? And the throttle, it's always good to have it. And I like also to add the crosshair in order to center your flight mode. If you fly fast, it's always good to have such kind of feedback. We can adjust, for example, the battery capacity here and upload also a more wider font, so we can select, for example, the clarity one. Okay, and upload the font into the flight controller. It's quite fast. It will require the reboot of the flight controller. Okay, it's done. And what I can do, I can also turn everything from NTSC. Okay, so as you can see, by default you have to be sure to install your layout with an NTSC compatible resolution. So something about like this. Okay, so should be okay, and I will move a little bit on top the other information like this, and it will be okay. So we are ready to go, and with the default Betaflight settings. And I think the first thing I will do is to install more Betaflight, more recent Betaflight firmware. Okay, so let's try to attempt to fly to the last Betaflight version. And for this, I won't use the last ultimate Betaflight configurator exe file. I will use the whole Chrome application. And I noticed sometimes it's working better. At least the DFU driver is working with these whole apps from Chrome. So I selected the right target board and the last Betaflight version, and if everything is okay, and especially in your USB devices, okay, by default probably you will have something about an omnibus F4 devices appearing here, especially if you are using ZX, but I prefer to overcome and override the driver to an STM32 virtual COM port. So actually, if I'm pressing the flash procedure, okay, the DFU is correctly appearing. So if it's not, maybe because you are using the last official Betaflight programs, especially in Windows 10, sometimes it can meet some problem. So change it to the whole Chrome application. And second possibility is because you install the official driver coming with ZX, for example, and sometimes it's not working, so you have to overwrite these settings, this driver with the basic STM virtual COM driver, and then it's working with this old Chrome application. So now it's done, it's right, it's rebooting, so now I can connect the machine and we will check that I have the last omnibus F4 3.5.2, so I will reconfigure everything from scratch, so it will take just a couple of seconds. Okay, connecting. Sometimes I need to press twice to reconnect. So for the port, I will turn on the UART1 for the FierceSky as-bus receiver. Okay, no need to turn any other one because there is no video transmitter control or runtime speed control. In terms of configuration, I will select, of course, the DShock 600. Okay, the default motor idle, no specific board alignment. I will take more the 4 kilos, okay, I will turn off the barometers and magnetometers because we don't have on this F4 board. I will select the correct serial based and specifically the S-Bus 1 to be sure, and then turn on the OSD, turn off the anti-gravity, but turn on the dynamic filter. Nothing else to turn on, no LED strip, anything to do. If you want to play with the beacon buzzer, you can play with this option, but since we have a real buzzer, is useless in my point of view. I will save, okay, reboot, reconnect, and then check to the power battery. I will keep the default one, the phase safe is the default one, and in terms of PIDs, as you saw in the first part, we have to decrease this I value because it's resonating a lot. So I will turn something about 20 here, 20 here, okay, as it was more or less in the first Betaflight settings, but I will increase the rates at least for the pitch and roll to something more about 900 degrees like this, and it would be okay for me. Okay, like this, it will be okay. And for the yeah answer, something more linear, and about so with this following settings, will be about 600 degrees with a more linear curve. I prefer in this case. I will keep the default filter settings, okay. And now let's check the receiver. So I will turn the radio. Okay, if everything is okay, I should have something working. If it's not, because I didn't select it correctly, the receiver, yes, I forgot to save, I don't know why. Okay, I will press and save. Okay, I reconnect, and we check that all the other settings have been saved like this, seems to be. So now in the receiver field, I should see all the wow, no movement. Why? In terms of configuration, maybe I didn't save the port. Yes, it was not saved, so I will save that. Okay, so you don't have any real possibility. No, not yet. Anything done? Yes, it's done. In terms of configuration, let's see if it's still here. Yeah, it's strange, but it's not saving the default settings. Okay, so now I will be able to save, because since the UART port was not turned on, I could not select any serial based protocol. It's logical, so now it's here. Okay, no problem, I can move the switch. So I will apply the RC deadband to 2, the yard deadband to 2, like it was before. Okay, and now let's check the mode. So I will add the angle to aux2, okay, the horizon to the middle one of aux2, okay, and I will say add the acro plus anti-gravity plus air mode. Where is it? Air mode on the upper position of the 3-way switch aux2, okay, for me. And I forgot to select aux2 here. I will save, and now let's do about the harming. I will do it on the aux1 on the upper position, so I will quit this one. I will add one on the aux1, okay, and for me the buzzer will be in the middle position of the aux1, okay, like this. I will save. So now I will check that everything is working. Beeper, arming, okay, arming for me, yes, okay, I will arm like this, no problem. And if the runcam split mini linked wiring was here, I would be able to play also with this camera control through the dedicated switch, but it's not the case. So now let's check the layout of the OSD. I will select the NTSC. I will display the main battery voltage, the crosshair. Okay, so let's say something about here. The timer 2, the flight mode. Okay, so I will do something here. Okay, the timer about here, for example. I will also display this throttle position. Okay, sometimes it's good to see how strong is the machine according to this throttle OSD information. It sometimes helps for you to measure the power of the machine. Then something about 400 milliamps for the capacity. Okay, I will save. Okay, and everything is here. Okay, change the font, select the clarity, upload the font. It's relatively fast. We require a reboot. Okay, change. Let's check the OSD, and everything should be here. So we are ready to go with the last Betaflight settings. Okay, and probably we require a little optimization of the PIDs. As you saw in the default settings, the EI and D value works pretty low, especially if you run it in 4S. It will probably need some little PID optimization. Whatever, let's go in the field. Welcome to the demo flight of the SPCMaker K1. Okay, I will test now the new Betaflight 3.5.2. I lowered the default I and D value to something around 20, at least for the pitch and roll axis. But associated with this kind of super compact machine, especially in 4S, will be we'll observe some jello in the video, because with such tiny frame, in general, it may happen that we can meet unfortunately some jellos, especially when we know that the arms are only 2.5 millimeters large, so not 3 millimeters, and it may unfortunately introduce some extra vibration. Okay, and so negatively impacting the video recording. That's the big open question. And as you can see in overlay, I already made some tests in my backward, and the answer is yes, there is unfortunately some remaining jello, especially in when you are holding in position. You can see some little vibration. So I mean, before to make the full outdoor testing, that this machine will require more than PID settings. It will require some a little optimization. For example, you will need to soft mount motors. You will probably need to also damp the camera position, okay, by inserting some piece of foam in the middle, and maybe also to swap the props to some more well balanced model. Okay, whatever. Let's now do an audio test. I will record both the FPV recorded file and as well the HD recording. Let's go. Okay, so I turn on my machine. I will record here on my favorite channel. Okay, it's recording. Let's arm the machine. Okay, let's go. Wow, you can feel a lot of power. Let's see a pump. Oh my god, it's powerful. I've got the 500 milliamps powers LiPo. You can feel maybe some little extra vibration, but here I don't feel a bad tuning of my PIDs. And let's see in stabilized how will be the HD recording, if you will be able to see some jellos. Okay, so I'm moving very slowly. Let's see maximum. It's fast. It's powerful for sure. So let's hear pump one more time. Wow, it's powerful. Some little prop watch, but nothing. And let's see in stabilize. How is it? Flying beautifully for sure. Okay, now it's time to go in FPV, and I will stop recording. So be sure to not forget to just turn off the recording on the camera, because you don't have any radio control for this one. So press this small tiny button. Let's conclude about this SPCMaker K1. Well, first of all, let's start with the positive element. It's a monster of power. It's ultra powerful. You can clip in from 20 meters in just a fraction of a second. No problem to be accro, as you saw in the first part of the video. It's really impressive. So it's a real joy to fly this machine. Wow, it's ultra powerful, and via 500 milliamps powers LiPo 4S, you can have up to 5 minutes of flight time. It's really not bad at all. So the motors are not so hot after usage, especially if you lower the IND value. Well, the range is great. The video transmitter range is also pretty good as soon as you set it to a 100 milliwatts. So no problem. It's compact. It's light. You can be under 140 grams with everything installed. Well, there is a battery and there is a run can split mini. So let's continue more with some negative points. I will start with the run can split mini. The edges are a little bit blurred versus the first edition. I don't know why. Maybe the lens is a change or something upon. But if you take attention to the corner, to the edges of this of the rendition, you can see some blurring. So it's a minor point versus at least the former edition. And I would say the most negative point is the presence of jello. I tried with many props and I still have some remaining jello. You can notice that when I flew very high, super slowly to enjoy the panorama, you can observe some little oscillations, some jellos, definitively. So how to proceed? First of all, I start to talk about this fact to SPCMaker in RC groups, and they say they're actually changing the design, at least for the front arm, to reduce a little bit the jellos. So the open question: how we know that we will receive a new batch or the former one? I guess like many Chinese shops, if you buy it online, first they will try to sell the former, so the model are received. Okay, so you will probably meet some jellos, and there will be no information when will be in stock the new revision. It's a secret, I guess, to reduce their stock to sell them like is it. And if you are unlucky, you will have this first original model. So there are some options to reduce. Install some soft mount. You have some dedicated 1104 0x soft mounting pads available, so you can install them, and it will probably reduce considerably the jello effect. You can install some foam here. Okay, the flight controller is not impacted with the vibration, because even in 6-axis stabilized mode I didn't observe any drift versus time like it can be when the MPU, the gyros, can be affected by the presence of vibration. It's not the case. Here in 6-axis stabilized is working fine over the 5 minutes. That's a good point. So what I regret, the absence of the RC, the run can split mini direct connection to the flight controller. There are 2 free UART ports. They just can have 2 small wires to connect them, and we will be able to enjoy recording via a switch of your radio or change some OSD camera settings directly from the OSD. Is not the case here. They can add that for the new revision batch will be introduced soon, I'm sure. Except that if I can select the K1 or the K2, I guess the K2 will be less impacted by the vibration. You know, in 95 millimeters, look, the size of the quadcopter is super tiny, and it's really challenging to have a machine without any vibration. There are no miracle. I think they can be fixed because there is not a lot of, so maybe there is hope, and I hope with the final design it will be the case. So if you have to choose between the K2, it's a bit larger, more larger, and the K1, actually I will select pick up more the K2 to be sure to have to be free of these jellos in versus the K1. Okay, so I think I did a small overview. So to conclude, we are probably waiting a new revision of this batch to solve the jello effect coming mainly from the design, at least from the front arms, some direct connection of the rack and split mini, and then it will be a really nice machine. So I cannot discern this any award because these 2 important points must to be filled, okay, to solve the main problem of this machine. Except that if they are solved, It's a super nice machine, and it can be one of my favorite quadcopter available. I hope you enjoyed this new video. You observe that I'm releasing less often some videos. Actually, I've got a lot of works with my official work, so it's like this, but it will end pretty soon, so I will be more free to produce more review. If you like this video, please submit, and see you next time. Bye bye.